Immediately prior to the tochecha, the scathing rebuke that is delivered in Parashat Bechukotai, which really takes up the majority of this week's parsha, the Torah prior to that begins to describe that, in fact, if we do follow the mitzvot, in Bechukotai telechu v'mitzvotai tishmu v'asitem otam, then we will receive a whole host of benefits, of brachot, of beneficence from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Fascinatingly, toward the very end of this list of the various brachot that we will receive for the performance of Hashem's mitzvot in the land of Canaan, in what we call Eretz Yisrael, the Torah tells us that we will no longer be enslaved. And the Torah concludes with 6 words: Vo'eshbor motot ulechem. I will shatter, I will break the arms of your yoke. Vo'olechetchem komemiyot, and I shall walk you upright. What does it mean to walk upright? What exactly is it that the Torah has in mind? Comes along Targum Onkelos and explains very simply one word: cheruta, freedom. It says very simply, we will no longer be enslaved. Instead, as a reward for fulfillment of the mitzvah, we will be free. Rashi, for his part, offers 2 words of explanation. Says Rashi, bikoma zikufa, with a straight spine, upstanding. Now, when we take a look at Onkelos, when we take a look at Rashi, we might simply understand them as describing a physical state of being. Kadosh Baruch Hu promises us, very simply, if we observe the mitzvot in Canaan properly, then we will no longer be enslaved as we were in Egypt. Instead, we will be free, and we will no longer be bound by the yoke that now sits upon our necks. However, comes along the Nitziv, Rav Naftali Tzvi Yehuda Berlin, the famed Rosh Yeshiva of Lajin, in his classic commentary Ha'imek Davar, says the Netziv, it means so much more. When we say these words, and similarly we might suggest when we pray in Birchat Hamazon, V'hu yolichinu komim miyot le'artzenu, he shall bring us, he shall walk us, lead us upstanding to our land. It's not just a physical state of being that's being described, but it is, in fact, a psychological one. It says that it's, if imagine your ox, an ox that day in, day out is burdened by a yoke. Well, what happens when the owner all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, seemingly, and removes the yoke from the ox? Says the Netziv, well, most times the ox will continue to walk in exactly the same fashion, hunched over, literally like a hunchback, without holding up its neck straight. Why? Because it has been habituated, it has become accustomed to walking around in this way. Not only that, but the ox expects that at any moment the owner might return and restore the yoke to its original place upon the ox's neck. Well, says the Netziv, the same is true of the Jewish people. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were nomads who were in galut, they were in exile, they were in diaspora, they traveled from place to place. We were really never settled as a people for hundreds upon hundreds of years. And so we became accustomed to not having independence, to not having our own upstanding ability to stand up straight without slouching down. Says the Netziv, for the first time, HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises us that we will be like the ox, who now has finally come to recognize that the owner is not coming back with the yoke, that now I am truly free. Not just physical freedom, but a psychological sense of independence, that I can stand up with dignity and with pride. That's the blessing of the Torah. That is V'olechetchem komim miyot. And what a powerful message, what a powerful lesson during these days when we celebrate not with arrogance, God forbid, but with a healthy sense of pride. We celebrate the accomplishments of Am Yisrael, of Medinat Yisrael, of Torah Yisrael. And we think about all of that between the period of Yom HaAtzmaut and Yom Yerushalayim, during which we find ourselves. And I think this is a perfect metaphor for what it is that we are meant to celebrate at this time. But there's one piece further, there's just one more point. Because it's not just true about the nation, it's also true about the individual. Comes along Rav Soloveitchik, the lonely man of faith. Adam 1 is not some meek individual. Adam 1 conquers worlds, seeks to understand nature, to invent cures for different diseases, to conquer. Adam 1 is anything but passive. In fact, he's proactive. And Isha Halacha, the halachic man as well, is very much cut from the same cloth. Not cowering behind anything, not hiding away, but rather intensely focused on doing what halachic man needs to do, to go out and to proactively, even aggressively, take the halachic ideals and embody them and actualize them right here in this world. And I recall when I was in yeshiva as well, at one point, at one of these press conferences, someone asked Rav Lichtenstein, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, Rabbi, what is the Rosh Yeshiva's primary goal for the Talmidim in the yeshiva? Said Rav Lichtenstein, a remarkable thing. He said, my goal is for each individual Talmid to be transformed from a chefza to a gavra, from an object to a subject. The goal was for each individual Talmud, in his own way, and with Migdalos in her own way, to be transformed, to find a sense of agency, to literally stand up komimiyot, again, not, God forbid, with arrogance, but with a sense of dignity, a sense of agency, a sense of pride. This is who I am, this is what I represent, these are my values. And so may it indeed be our merit to fulfill the words, the blessing, and the aspiration of our Rebbe, both as an individual and as a nation at this time of year. And may we all walk komimiyot. Shabbat Shalom.